All right, we had discussions with Cedric Malot and Brian Jorgensen before, and they both said it was difficult for them to ride bikes that Stefan had set up, that his setup was so unique. Of course, the team would have changed the bike for you, but have you run across any of the same?
No, honestly I haven't, and I'm not sure about how it worked for them, but for myself, there hasn't been a mention of even riding Stefan's bike, and from the day I went there to test for the first day, I didn't even ride Stefan's bike. They gave me a production factory bike. When I mean production, I mean it was a factory bike with a basic setup. I tested from there. First I rode the production bike, then the kit bike, and then the race bike. And I never even rode Stefan's bike. I never rode his settings. I never asked to ride it. I never even considered riding it. And there was never any mention from them, Stefan did this, you must do this, Stefan did that, Stefan had this set up or whatever. There's no mention whatsoever. And the only time Stefan was mentioned was, like I said previously, was me asking, what did he do in this situation? So I think now Stefan is gone, it was really, Stefan's out, Josh and Mark are in. And I know that Mark has definitely received the equal attention that I have received, and I know that Mark did his testing completely separate and went through the same system as me. So I don't know how it worked previously, but so far this has never entered my mind anything to do with Stefan whatsoever.
Right. Now, we know, of course, last weekend your former housemate and fellow countryman won the East Coast Supercross Championship, the first New Zealander to achieve something like that in America. Have you been in touch with him subsequently, and what's your feeling about that?
Yeah, I heard from him on Sunday morning before the race in Portugal, obviously when he won, and we've sent a few text messages between now and then. And yesterday I spoke to him on the phone, and I know he's out in California testing now for the outdoors. What can I say? You know, we knew Ben was a good rider. We knew he was an exceptional talent, and we knew he had that little bit extra, that edge, the drive that a lot of riders don't have. But when he left here, to say that he would win the championship on what effectively is his first year was something that not even I did. I'm one of his best supporters, and not even I would say. Because, you know, last year was written off with injury completely. He rode one Supercross, which was US Open at the end of the year, nothing really like AMA. And then he comes out and wins the championship this year. So, like I said, really his first season Supercross. And, you know, that's unheard of. There's not so many riders which have done that. And when you look at Grant Langston, the winningest rider ever on lights, he didn't master it in his first year. He won some races, and I expected Ben to do something similar. Win a couple, maybe crash out of one, maybe a podium and a couple of DNFs, and maybe at best top 3 in the championship. But he surprised us all, and I think it's unbelievable. It's great, good for him, and good for Europe also, because they see somebody went over there and had a bad run but was successful. So I think it's good.
Well, you mentioned now something, of course, the perennial Europe States thing. Now, we've had an interview before with Sean Hamblin, and the MX2 guys, particularly coming from the States, didn't cover themselves with glory up to now. Of course, there may have been problems, and there may be various reasons for that. Do you think that indicates something that America maybe underestimates what's going on in Europe?
I think I think America definitely does underestimate what's going on in Europe, because they have exceptional talents like RC and Bubba. So they look at those two guys and they see some unbelievable speed. But behind them, outdoors is not stacked with talent, and what it is stacked with is a lot of foreigners. So then you have Chad, and then you have guys like Villeman and whatnot. So I think that they just look at RC and Bubba and they see that he's so exceptional, and they don't realise that Europe has a lot of depth. But another thing they don't take into consideration is the differences from America to Europe. Prime example is the Spanish GP, when we had to go straight into qualification. And both Ryan Mills or Sean Hamlin have never ridden that track before, and they had to go fast straight away. So that's very, very hard for them. And although they're very good riders, I think they're a little bit lost at the moment. But not only on the motocross side of it, but also on the living and the way life is and whatnot. But I think we have a lot of depth here, a lot of talent. And although we mightn't have a Stewart or a Carmichael, we have a lot of guys that would sort of run top 5, top 3, close to third to sort of 5th, 6th, 7th in the outdoors over there. And I think that they don't realise that because they're kind of blinded with RC and Bubba.
Now you mentioned the changes and having to adapt, and of course you had to go through it yourself. Your first few years were very hard. I think you still had to pay your way for a good number of years. Do you still think back about those years now that success has definitely come and you are the recognised top rider in the class?
Yeah, definitely. I remember. I had to pay a lot of money, and my parents had to borrow a lot of money to get me to where I'm at today. 95, 96, 97, those 3 years were really tough. And 96, at the end of 96, I almost didn't come back. It was so close. And I just kept fighting, and I remember days of stealing fuel from Sylvain Gabors to fuel up my bike, and I was struggling big time. But those days have made me who I am today, and they helped, and they made me keep believing and keep fighting, and even now when I've had tough times like injuries in 2003 and whatnot, I was able to keep strong.
Right now, of course, you've got a lot to go back to in New Zealand. You're a bit of a farmer. I saw you had a helicopter license and everything, and of course it's a beautiful country to go back to. Has it entered your mind as to when this might actually happen?
I think it'll happen the end of 08. I think that I'll probably go home. I'm not really sure. It's too hard to say. Yeah, I'm definitely going then. But that's kind of when I'm thinking at the moment. It really depends how this year and next year pan out. Obviously, 2-year contract at Yamaha, and then I'll make a decision. Part of me says I would like to go back and race 1 or 2 years in Australia and kind of do it as a warm-down sort of thing, or even 1 year outdoor only in America. But then I say to myself, if I'm going to do this, I have to work just as hard. So I might as well stay in Europe and do 1 more year, and really, financially it would be better, and also try to win another championship if the next 2 go well. So it's kind of too early to say, but I would have thought that it's heading towards an end.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Josh, and all of the best for the rest of the season.
Thank you.